Welcome to the HR Book Club, the series where we meet the authors behind the very best HR books. Today I'm joined by Su Patel and we're going to be discussing her book, Putting the Human Back into HR. Hi Sue, how are you?
Hi, Leon. I'm very well. And just thank you so much for having me on.
No problem at all. So it makes sense to start with introductions. So perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, for sure. So, as you said, my name's Su Patel, and I am a coach and mentor for HR professionals. So, my experience has been in HR for over 27 years. I worked with Tesco's for majority of my HR career, working in several roles. I literally started, at the beginning as a cashier in Tesco and just worked my way up the ranks, knowing what it's like to be an employee, a line manager, and then obviously in HR. So I really understood what people were dealing with, as a HR professional. And yeah, just really kind of worked my way up the ranks in HR before I kind of took redundancy in 2016. And then since then set up my HR consultancy, working with small businesses, and then transitioned to being a coach and mentor for HR professionals. And I just have to say, I absolutely love it. Like, this is one, I suppose, a career that I'm in right now. It's like it's not work. Okay. And it's so great to be in that space, where you're doing something and it doesn't feel like work, but you're fulfilling on your passion.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's what everyone should strive for. So tell us a bit more about putting the human back into HR. So what's the book about and who's it aimed at?
So yeah, thank you. So the book is about a couple of things, really. One is about being human in HR. I think a lot of us go into HR thinking, we want to really help people. We want to develop people or grow people. And then actually we end up doing that the least in the role, because it becomes about policies and processes and and stuff like that. So I really wanted to home in on, actually, let's put the human back into HR. Let's think about people, putting people first, and listening to what they need to be the best that they can be in their jobs, rather than throwing policies and processes at people. And then the other thing was around really helping HR get that, they are important people, and often, they're kind of thinking, well, what is my role? Am I here to support the business with what they need, or am I here to look after people? And they're kind of torn between the two, rather than actually finding the balance between how can they serve the business and serve the employees as well. So it's really for HR professionals to really get that, I am important and I can do this role being balanced.
Yeah, okay. So what motivated you to write the book? I mean, it seems like you obviously want to help other HR professionals given the business that you have now as well. But what motivated you to write the book?
Well, a couple of things, really. So firstly, it was about, in my first HR consulting role in my business, I was actually invited to work for a business where they already had a couple of HR professionals who were, they'd done their CIPDs and they kind of had an idea of what they were doing, but they had very little leadership training, and understanding like how to really put it all together. So, I really just felt for them, bless them. They were really struggling to work with, their seniors and really create a brand for themselves as a HR department. So I worked with them around, what they could do to create a brand, how they could find a bit more balance. And I talk about that in my book, like the 5 areas that you could really bring balance, or the HR brand blueprint, which is what you need to do to create the brand that people will love and respect, and has credibility and build trust with the people in the organization. And, that was one of the reasons I really wanted to help HR professionals, not just get that, I've got these HR skills and that's what it's all about. It's also about all these other things around, their own mindset. It's also around the people and really kind of just creating balance, like HR is often isolated in, in a corner of the building, right? Somewhere where and rather than actually being at the center of an organization where, they're firing on all cylinders, serving the sales department, the finance department, the operations department, rather than being a separate thing over here where we're the HR department, So I think, that was one of the biggest reasons, was actually I want HR to move away from being separate to being at the core of an organization where they literally do help everybody and serve everybody in the business, including like the directors. But yeah, it's really to give them the confidence to get that, they are important and they need to be at the core of a business rather than a small part of a business.
Okay, and I suppose with a book, obviously you can reach more people to get that across than just yourself.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And it's been incredible, really, because, people obviously that I don't know have purchased the book, and I've had some really great reviews from people about how it's really helped them. I've had messages from people saying I use it like my Bible now because, I know now how I need to be in HR. So it's been really great to get the message out there to people. And that's what the book was there for. It's there for really helping HR professionals. Like, who do they go to, right, in their role? A lot of HR professionals are very standalone. If they go to their boss with an issue, they feel like they're being judged on that. They can't go to their teams because then they feel like they don't know their job, or they don't have the strength in their job. And actually being a HR professional for HR, it's just been just a privilege to be in that space. And, the feedback's been phenomenal.
Okay, fantastic. So in terms of the writing process, I don't know if you've ever done anything like this before. So how did you find the actual writing process?
Yeah, so I think initially I was really excited about it. So, like the whole emotional cycle of change that occurs, it was the same with writing the book. In the beginning, you're very, very excited, yes, I'm going to write a book. And then, I started with just a straw model of like what was going to go in it, like what kind of chapters and stuff like that. I did work with the Professional Speakers Academy, who really specialize in helping speakers create, a book as well. So, I kind of use that as a bit of a model. But as I was going through the chapters and writing my content, right, there were times when I just thought, oh my God, who's going to read this? Who's going to read anything that I've done? I had my own kind of imposter syndrome going on and stuff. Yeah. And that's what kind of stalled me along the way as well. But I took on a coach who really had my back. She was incredible. She literally messaged me in the morning, say, right, what chapter are you going to write today? And I was like, okay, and then she'd message me by the end of the day, say, have you written it? And it'll be done, so really, needed some accountability around that. Yeah. But it really worked. And I think my main challenge was just getting over myself, really, like just getting out of my own way, and not having these negative thoughts about who would read my book and why would anybody want to read anything I've got to say, because now it's like your message is going out into the world, and you've really got to step into a different identity of yourself, and really being able to do that has just been, massive growth for me as well. When I first wrote the first draft, I worked with a publishing company who were just phenomenal. The editors were great, and everything that they've done. I mean, I'm super, super proud of the work that they've done with the book. But before I sent it out to a couple of my HR friends. And, I was really nervous getting it out there to professional HR people who always have an opinion, right?
I can imagine, yeah.
But it was just phenomenal. All of their reviews came back amazing. In fact, they're all in the book as well. I've included them all in the book as well. And that just gave me even more of a boost to say, no, I need to get this out there and go out there and serve all these HR professionals. But yeah, it was a journey. And I think that's the reason why it took me like kind of 8 months to do, because I kept getting in my own way. But having a coach really helped, and having a great publishing company really worked.
Fantastic. So would you write another book? Is there plans to do something else similar to this? Or do you feel like you've got a lot of what you want to say in the book already?
Oh my God, there's still so much to be said, right? There's always so much to say, because I'm evolving as well, right? I've evolved since I've written that book as well, and I have declared that I will write another book for HR professionals. So let's watch this space. I think I want to do more around, the courses that I run around, confidence for HR professionals. I do want to, get a bit of that message out there to people as well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, interesting. See. watch the space. So we always end our HR book club interviews with a recommendation for a fellow HR professional. So if there's one book that you could recommend to a HR person, which book would it be?
Yes. So the book that I would recommend is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay. I read this book when I was 18 years old. I was a new manager for Tesco, and I didn't know anything about how to be with people or how to be a leader. And I read that book, and it was literally my Bible for many, many years. I think the whole of my Tesco career, I always quoted it in leadership sessions and when I've been developing people. So it is an absolute must read.
Okay, fantastic. Excellent. Well, very best wishes obviously with the business, and very best wishes with regards to putting the human back into HR. And and thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.